After daily driving my Lenovo Legion for about 2 years, here's my bold take. This laptop is a beast. No, not that beast. It's powerful, no doubt. But despite it being labeled a pro device, I do not think this laptop was made for professionals. Wait, hear me out and let's talk about why. Hey Earthlings, welcome to another YouTube video. And in this video, we are going to be taking a look at the Lenovo Legion Pro 7i Gen 8. This laptop was released in the year 2023 and here are the specifications that it comes with. There is an updated Gen 9 version which is pretty much the same thing but with a 14th gen CPU. Over the years, I've pushed this machine to its limits, gaming, editing and juggling heavy multitasking across multiple monitors. And guess what? It does it without even breaking a sweat. Yes, a laptop can run a multiple monitor setup without breaking a sweat. Impressive, right? But despite all of that power, I still do think there are a couple of reasons why this particular laptop falls a bit short from being a true pro device. If you're a professional or someone looking to pick up this laptop, stick around because after 2 years, I've uncovered some things that may surprise you as they sure did shock me. And trust me, they just might change how you see this laptop. This laptop configuration costs $2,750 on Lenovo's own website. But hey, as a good friend that I am, I found it on Amazon for $2,500 and you can pick it up using my link in the description below at no extra cost to you, but just know that this goes into supporting the channel. Before we dive deeper, hit that subscribe button as we're trying to hit 500 subscribers. Thank you as you do so. So first, let's talk about build quality. Because after 2 years, I know you're dying to know how well this laptop has held up. Well, I'm happy to report that it has held up surprisingly well. This laptop comes in an onyx grey color, which I particularly like, and it is built with anodized aluminum on the top and on the bottom, making this laptop feel really strong and tanky. However, this choice of material comes with a downside, which we'll talk about later on in the video. I moved this laptop around a lot and I put it in the wildest of situations without any fear, knowing how strong it is. On the top lid, I slapped on a GTA 6 sticker which does more than just look cool. It protects and takes the heat from the aluminum lid. So eventually when you do peel it off, you have a clean looking laptop just like day one. That's a free hack for you guys. Unfortunately, the bottom which I left unprotected has been scratched. I may or may not have hung it on the wall, which has resulted in the bottom panel getting scratched in a few places, revealing the actual silver color of the aluminum underneath. Thanks to me putting this laptop in, let's just say, unusual situation. I doubt you'd ever be in any one of them though, so you should be fine. Thankfully, Lenovo most likely knew this would be a problem and surrounded the ports with plastic because plastic doesn't show scratches as bad. The hinge still remains as sturdy as day one. Lenovo definitely nailed the tuning on that. There's very little wobble and no looseness, just smooth hinges. Very satisfying. On the inside is where things start to get pretty disappointing. Lenovo decided to make the keyboard jack out of plastic, which we all know shows fingerprints a lot. Also, I expected it to pick up significant scratches over time. However, to my surprise, after a quick wipe down, it still looks spotless. Now, I'm one of those people who is a sucker for a full magnesium or aluminum build, but I've got to admit, this plastic is holding up pretty well. The overall design on the Legion Pro is quite simple and mute. It doesn't really scream gaming laptop, and that's one thing that I really like about it. In my experience, you can use this laptop in almost anywhere and you wouldn't draw too much attention to yourself, unlike some other laptop brands. Yes, it does have RGB on its keyboard and a front underglow, which both can be controlled by the Vantage software or keyboard shortcuts. And when they're turned off, man, just look at it. I've traveled to multiple countries with this laptop and I've got to say, having all of that power in your backpack makes you feel unstoppable. But the weight, that is one thing that sure might stop you. I'm gonna keep it real. Portability just isn't this laptop's strong suit. It's a 16-inch machine which weighs approximately 2.8 kilograms. So yeah, it's a thick boy. Although not so heavy that you can't move around with it, but it comes with an 80 watt-hour battery which lasts about 5 to 6 hours on light tasks. But if you plan to do anything a bit more intensive, just expect less than half of that. And what this means is that you have to lug around its hefty 330 watts power brick that it comes with. And there's the problem. For a pro device, this can be very limiting. Because if you want to get any serious work done on the laptop at full power, you're definitely going to be needing its charger. Battery life is a major deal breaker for a lot of professionals who work on the go. And for a laptop with Pro in its name, I definitely expected better. Now let's move on to my favorite part of this laptop, its performance. 2 years later, this laptop still punches way above its weight, and trust me, I've pushed it really hard. I'll be honest, I've had this laptop serviced at least 4 times in the last 2 years, and I've also implemented my Windows optimization guide, which you can find up on screen somewhere. But with those tweaks, this laptop flies, and I can confidently say that in the next 3 to 5 years, this laptop will still be an absolute top performer, and I'm pretty sure that it can go head to head with some of your desktops. AAA titles maxed out with ray tracing, no problem. Fast-paced FPS games at over 140 frames a second, easy. Editing 4K videos with multiple timelines, edits and transitions, child's play. In fact, every single YouTube video that is up on my channel to date has been edited on this machine. With an Intel i9 and RTX 4080 GPU and 32 gigs of RAM, this laptop is so powerful that when a new game drops, I don't even bother to check the minimum specifications. I just dive right into it. And even with unoptimized games, DLSS comes to the rescue. But with great power comes great responsibility. So let's find out how loud this laptop gets while delivering all of that power. As you can see, using this laptop in its performance mode makes its fans sound like a jet engine. I usually have to wear noise-cancelling headphones to game in silence. When editing though, I get away with using balanced or quiet presets, which produces significantly less noise and delivers a bit less power. Also, I've noticed when gaming with the balanced mode, you get a lot of inconsistent frames. And going with quiet basically halves your frame rate. So if you truly want to maximize the usage of this system, the fan noise is just something you have to get used to. And for a pro device, I feel like this is really not what you're going to want. One thing to note is that the bottom of the laptop gets really hot when it's under load, most likely due to the choice of material, but oh well. So if you plan on getting this laptop, just know that most of the time, you'd end up using it on a table. Now let's move on to talk about the keyboard. It felt great on day one, and 2 years later, it still feels amazing. It's clicky, tactile, and super satisfying to type on. The keycaps, zero fades and zero cracks. They've held up perfectly. And its RGB is honestly one of my favorite things. It's really bright and vibrant, and the underglow, If I'm feeling flashy, I turn it on and instant flex. The trackpad is made of plastic, which I'm really not going to complain about because it's quite accurate and precise. However, this is an expensive device and I would have really liked to see glass touchpad on it. So far, it's clear that this laptop has some, let's just call them quirks. And you might be starting to see why I really don't consider this laptop to be a true pro device. But hold on, we are about to dive even deeper. And these next few points, they'll make things even clearer. So now let's talk about the display because it's really good. Hands down one of the best IPS displays I've seen on any laptop. But some might not consider it pro level. Here are the specifications. 16-inch 2K resolution, 16:10 aspect ratio, 240Hz refresh rate, 500 nits of peak brightness, 100% DCI-P3 color accuracy, and 100% sRGB color accuracy. This display is bright, color accurate, and super fast, all of which would make an excellent gaming display. However, Here's why it falls a bit short. While it's more than good enough for content creation and gaming, an OLED option with higher contrast ratio and even more precise color accuracy would make this a far more appealing choice to creative professionals. Yes, I understand that not all professionals need the most color accurate screens, but at least give us the option. Don't get me wrong, this OLED is an incredible looking display. However, the lack of an OLED option just leaves a bit to be desired. Now let's move on to the ports on this device. On the right, you have a headphone microphone combo jack and a USB 3.2 Gen 2. On the left, you have a USB 3.2 Gen 1 port and a USB-C 3.2 Gen 2 Thunderbolt 4 port, which supports data transfer, power delivery, and DisplayPort 1.4. On the back, you have an Ethernet port, a USB 3.2 Gen 2 port, which supports power delivery of up to 140 watts, and DisplayPort 1.4. Then you have the HDMI 2.1, two USB 3.2 Gen 1, and your power connector port. The port selections on the laptop are pretty solid, and I like that most of the ports are tucked away on the back of the laptop, giving you a cleaner cable management. It's a small detail that I really like and I feel makes a huge difference if you like a clean setup. But here's the thing, a pro device not having an SD card port is simply diabolical. I literally have no other words for that. Why, Lenovo? Just why? This has to be my biggest frustration with this laptop as a content creator. So if your workflow includes them, you definitely need to buy a dongle. And personally, I'm not really a fan of dongles. Apple fans, stay away. The speakers on these laptops are good. Yeah, just good. Definitely not as good as the MacBooks, but better than the average speakers that you find on a Windows laptop. You look good to down. Shuku bam bam, watch me go big in your eyes. I'm hoping you're surprised. Upgradeability on this laptop is quite easy, and by taking off 10 screws on the back, you have access to all of its internals, in where you can find your 2 upgradable RAM and SSD slots, and also a replaceable Wi-Fi card. So, who is this laptop really for? You might take a look at the name and be misled into thinking it was made for pro users. However, this is a gaming laptop. Yes, this laptop is heavily tailored towards gamers, and frankly, a lot of my grievances with this laptop might not bother you if all you do is game. In fact, I can go ahead as to say that you'll have an amazing time with this machine, as it's an absolute unit. But for me to be able to recommend this device as a pro device, there are a couple of things that I would like to see changed or improved in the future iteration. First, give us an OLED option. To my knowledge, the 2025 version, which is coming out pretty soon, is going to come out with an OLED option, which is pretty sick if you ask me. Second being an SD card slot. I mean, even Apple brought back the SD card port, so you don't need a bloody dongle for it. Lenovo, take note. Next, make this laptop slimmer and lighter. And lastly, give us improved battery life and also make the power brick smaller so it's easier to use off the wall. Genuinely, I think all of those changes with a combination of what already works on the existing device would make for an absolute killer pro device. All of this discussion around pro devices popped up a question in my head. Is it possible to have a great gaming laptop that is also a great productivity laptop? I have my answers in my head, but I really want to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments. Now to wrap it all up, if you're a user looking for a pro device that has an OLED screen, better battery life, and an SD card slot, this ain't it, chief. You're better off exploring other pro laptops like the Asus Pro Art, the MacBook Pros, or the Zephyrus lineups, some of which I'll provide links in the description. But if you can overlook all of these minor inconveniences, and if this machine fits into your workflow, I can definitely recommend, as the 2 years that I've been with this laptop has been an absolute treat, with little to no issues at all. Also, if performance in a laptop is a top priority for you, this is definitely up there. If you enjoyed this honest tech review, do make sure to check out one of the other videos that pops up on your screen right now. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Gekum out. Well, I'm happy to report revealing the revealing the silver, revealing the, and lastly, also make the power bits a brick.